Get ready to go.
Let's start right out. Hey, what happened?
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Hi there. Welcome. My name is Dean, and we're busy today. Lots going on. Evander Kane's in deep trouble. Probably never plays hockey again. We got the Island Boys.
That's my prediction.
Yeah, for sure. Island Boys are going to meet them. That'll be a lot of fun. Joe Rogan. We got some Joe Rogan and stuff. He's on tour. Joe Rogan's on the I didn't eat horse paste tour, by the way. I swear to God, I didn't eat horse paste. I swear. I took some pills.
You ever taken horse pills on DMT, man?
No, I haven't. But we got that to talk about. We got some stuff about your balls to talk about, fellas. A way that you can help out the ladies. And again, we'll meet the Island Boys coming up in a minute. That is James D. Fiore. That is Ryan Lindley. That is Lachlan Cross.
Because if I wasn't here, you'd still talk about the balls thing, right?
Well, let's
In
get
lieu
to that
of your
first.
absence, yes.
Right?
I wanted to get to that first.
James is blaming this on me. Like, it's my fault that we're talking about testicles right
Your
out of
existence.
the gate,
It's not you. It's the fact that you exist.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not that we're not. I would talk about this if you weren't here, but you sent this to me and it's your content, so I thought I'd bring it up. That's all, right?
Yeah, it had nothing to do with you apparently, but you sent me the content.
You sent it. You sent it to me. Like, it's funny how we all do, just let you in on how we do stuff. So we'll send back and forth stories, and we'll daily, like hourly sometimes, are helping each other out. Here's what we're doing. I don't know if you get any stuff for your show, Locke, at 95.7 Cruise FM at Edmonton from some of the stuff that we do.
You guys,
but it's nice.
No, he steals it from our
provide
stuff.
me about half of my prep. Maybe more some days.
It's the best. But it helps us too, right? So we're always sharing. It's a very selfless enterprise. This is what we do. So Locke sends us the other day, and how he sends prep. Usually I send it with like an explanation, a link. Here's how I want to handle this stuff. Locke just sends this picture with like a fucking link to the thing. This is called COSO.
Yeah.
Now, COSO is, believe it or not, a high-tech male contraceptive. Now, what you do here, and why you see the black inside this machine, and listener, if you're not joining us on YouTube, DeanBlundell.com, or if you're not joining us on Twitch at Dean Blundell TV, and you're just iTunes or Spotify, and you're listening and you can't hear it, it's like an oval sort of bowl, electronic bowl, that's lit on the outside that you fill with water, and then you put your nutsack in there.
Like
and
a
you
hot tub for your testicles.
It's a hot tub for your nutsack. And I did a little reading on this whole thing. Mm-hmm. Here's how you use it, fellas. The user puts water into the device up to the indicated watermark, set together with the doctors according to individual testicle size. Locke, you probably would need a bigger one. Water is heated up to operating temperature. The COSO is ready for ultrasound treatment. The user spreads his legs, sits down to place testicles in the device. The ultrasound process continues for a few minutes. The remaining time can be monitored in real time via the COSO app. After the treatment, the device switches off automatically. The technology of COSO is based on a study of whatever that basically uses ultrasound to confuse the shit out of your jizz so that when you shoot stuff, it's too confused to get to the egg, apparently. That's my understanding, and I was really thankful that you sent this
Makes
to
your
me.
sperm dumb.
As
Yeah, ends up procreating Chris Guys and anti-vax rallies.
Yeah, but I was thankful that you sent it to me because contraception is not a woman's job, Locke. And we've been saying that for months.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Contraception no, it isn't. It is not the woman's job. So this is just another tool in the equality fight.
if we're being
when it comes to
smart,
not having fuck trophies, huh?
you know what? Honestly, I get the whole.
That is like chivalry gone mad. But go ahead.
Okay, listen, I get the whole equal rights thing, and we should be taking responsibility for certain things, but not this, ladies. If you're listening to this and you honestly think that there is a gentleman out there that you should keep,
I'll let you finish.
Honestly,
I'm gonna let you finish.
If you trust a man to deal with this on their own, then you're in trouble, and you better welcome baby Johnny whatever, right?
9 months.
Yeah. Here's the thing I think
Johnny
about the COSO with the sauna for your nut sack here.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling you have to do it more than once. I don't think this is a one and done and your sperm is dumb for life. I think you got to sit on that thing every day.
This is what the sperm retention guy would plug.
Yeah, he would promote this for sure.
No offense, sperm retention guy, but
I agree with you, Locke, that this is not something that you just use once. It's not like laser, right? It's not like hair laser removal where you get it like once or a series and you're done forever.
Although
I think this is like a stun gun for your sperm, where you put your nuts in it prior to the actual engagement of coitus. That's science. That's science for intercourse. By the way, coitus, science for intercourse. And you have coitus with your partner, male or female, I don't care. And, well, in this case, if you have coitus after using this with a female, your sperm are so fucking confused, they're like running around into each other and stuff like that. And by the time they get to the fallopian tubes, they're like, fuck, we're exhausted. That's what I
say how long?
Doesn't it vibrate?
Did it say how long?
I was looking for that, Ryan. Oh, 5 minutes?
But doesn't
put your
it
balls
vibrate?
in there. I don't think it vibrates. Well,
5 minutes a day.
Right? It's
keep the babies away.
Raise your hand if you've ever had your balls lathered with lube and then had a nurse ultrasound them. It's not easy to remain in a seated position, if you know what I mean. Like, so maybe this thing vibrates and then pushes sperm up, and they don't get impacted, right? And then they impact the empty testes.
It does sound oddly pleasurable. I mean, if like I
right.
I did like the idea that you have to heat the water up.
Yeah. And it vibrates.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as ultrasound that doesn't vibrate.
You have to incorporate it into some sort of foreplay, I guess. Hang on, honey. I got to soak my balls first.
I got a COSO.
I got a COSO. It's a sex toy now. It's not even a contraceptive. Just strap it on your balls and have sex. It'll be fun.
I think it's a great idea, but I do side with partially, Lachlan, what you said earlier. First of all, let's just get this out in the open. Contraception is not the female's responsibility. However,
it is.
No, it isn't. I will say this.
Totally is.
Mutual.
No, it isn't. It shouldn't be.
If you don't want kids, ladies, take total responsibility of this because men are fucking idiots.
Well, that's where you're coming at this from differently than me, which is like if you're a responsible adult, that's who I'm talking about, men who are responsible adults. You're talking about children. You're talking about non-serious fuckers who like to... Yeah, guys are the worst.
Are you taking that thing out? Are you taking that thing out to the club?
Still use contraception, but yeah, that's a. I don't think
it's all these guys that don't care about contraception that ruin it for all us responsible dick owners.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the way it is. Got to shoot it.
I don't think it's very portable or.
It's a scam.
That's gonna suck for.
Don't be an irresponsible dick owner.
Can I just send a message to the kids, to all the children that are listening right now? The pull-up method pretty much works.
Yeah. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about, Dean. This is why Lachlan is right.
Locke, what'd you say?
I said that's exactly why. James's comment right there is exactly why I said what I said.
Yeah.
Not because I don't believe in the idea of equality when it comes to anything. It's just that we have to be reasonable about our expectations of stupid people. And men, generally speaking, on the spectrum, are dumber than women. We just are. We are.
Oh, I think women always have to be prepared to use the prophylactics in any regard. Don't put 100% of your faith in a man, especially a man who ultrasonics his nutsack before he gets in there. So you still need to do your thing. But I'm just saying, I think it was a really neat thing. I thought it was like,
I read the instructions on that thing.
Did you?
And I still don't know how to use it. Like, I know I do my balls in it, but do I have to do it every day? Do I have to do it?
Yes, you do it once before. You do it at least 10 minutes before you have intercourse.
See, I skimmed the whole thing, right?
You probably
Oh,
get
you
this
gotta read
result
it.
putting
On
a
me.
cell phone on your nutsack. So seriously,
Lachlan's dick is caught in a ceiling fan. There's emergency services coming.
The sauna testicle app too. Like, couldn't find it.
Lachlan, you should just tape an old flip phone to your chota. Same result. It would be
Or just stand really close to the microwave. You'll be fine. Seriously. You're not having kids anymore. Have you had? You've had a vasectomy. I've had a vasectomy. We've all had vasectomies. Here, right?
As soon as my second one came out, I was like, that I'm done.
Anyway, I thought that was nice.
I do the pull-out method, so I'm not in need of a vasectomy.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's why you're you, because you do the pull-out method.
James, maybe that
coming on
70-year-old with a kid coming.
I'm not Larry King. Fuck off.
You're gonna have one. It's my prediction. Write it down.
Anyway, thanks, Locke. I appreciate you sending that prep to us. Really glad that you did. It was really fun. Before we get to the big news of the day, too, I would like to introduce you to these two guys, two rap stars.
Oh,
not
boys.
Guys, not often are we on the edge of, or not often are we on the precipice of a new movement. This is incredible.
Who are these fucking idiots?
Are they disabled?
They're the Island
I don't
Boys.
think we should be making fun of them if they are.
I don't think they're disabled.
Okay.
I don't think they're disabled at all.
I wonder
they're
if
the
should
Island
leave
Boys.
These guys in charge of contraception.
I don't think
Actually,
so.
you know what? Before you hit play, you should tell everybody who's watching, close your eyes and just imagine and think of what you're hearing and just try to picture what's doing it.
What are you doing to our audience?
Try to picture like who's rapping,
who's singing.
I came across this video yesterday. If you're watching this on YouTube, get ready. This will blow your mind. The Island Boys are here. Two white kids, maybe 17 max,
Ruined it.
whose parents are probably really wealthy.
I know where you were going, Ryan.
And they are they're idiots, but they're incredible at the same time, because I can't fucking stop watching this video of the Island Boys. Have you seen it?
Look, I'm an island boy, and I've been trying to make. Oh, I'm an island boy. I'm just island boy. I'm just island boy. I'ma get key white gun. You're gonna keep that gun. I'll be just staring at the sun. I'm just out fool gazing. I'm like, pool where I'm staying. They're like, you wanna be famous? I'm trying to be out the greatest. I'm a Florida boy. I get a real damn tropic. I'm like the dumb on the topic. I'm an island boy. I put my vest on, yeah, like a wagwan man. Trying to make it to the top. I'm an island boy. I've been trying to make it. I ain't seen it with a gang slang. You ain't just slang no kind. And through the storm, through the rain. Cause we try home like a line. From the island boy, from the Caribbean. Que yo soy cubano. I'm an island boy. Put my vest on, yeah.
It's fucking awesome. It's fucking awesome.
They should be
all
shot
day in
and
my
pissed
house.
on. Seriously, shot and pissed on. They're gangsters. They can take it.
All day.
Those two white kids are from. I did a little research. Are from Florida. That's in their parents' pool. They're getting dragged. That thing has got like 8 million views already. It is massive. We put the video out like 2 days ago. They're two white kids, and they got dreads, and they're tatted up, and their teeth are terrible. They're in a pool, and they're singing in patois rap, or like island Caribbean kind of like style. Really culturally misappropriating an entire genre of music and a whole bunch of people. And it is so fucking bad, and it is so fucking annoying that I love it. Like it is. It's
They're
to
on
me,
Justin Trudeau's playlist.
Yeah, the Island Boys. To me, I was watching this today.
I'm an island boy, and I've been trying to make.
I was watching this today, and I was thinking to myself, these guys are 17, right?
That's
And
not
they're at
an
that
excuse.
age.
They're probably
hang on.
30.
They're at that. They're probably 30.
Fuck's mad.
They're from
They're at
Florida.
this-
They could be anything.
They're hanging out in the pool. They're all tatted up. They've spent thousands on terrible tattoos on their faces, on their chest, on their arms, and they're pretending that they're rappers and badasses, and they're big shorts in a pool with the fucking dreads, but they're little white kids, little tiny honkies. That's what they are. You get little tiny honkies being just a couple of fucking idiots. And I thought to myself when I was watching this, I thought, and let's just keep that there on that. I thought, these guys in 10 years are going to want to get in a time machine and go back and beat the fucking shit out of themselves for this.
They're going to be the same.
That's the
Yeah,
problem.
they're not growing up.
I know you brought that up, that I shouldn't be saying this, but honestly, it was so much easier when you could beat your kids. And those two examples of two examples of children that did not get a good beating at the right time.
Well, they didn't have good parenting. Like, you know, they're probably very wealthy, from my understanding it. Their parents didn't spend. This is a fucking warning sign for parents. Spend time with your kids, because this is what you get. But back to my thing.
Well,
like, is there a time?
Maybe that's.
I don't think they spend any time.
That's a mom that doesn't say no and lets them do whatever they want.
Raised by an iPhone. Yeah.
I learned when I was young, because I started like writing rhymes when I was like 11. Okay, so that's a long time ago, and I knew that there were two kinds of white rappers back then. There were white rappers that were like, "What up, man? What up, yo?" And it was like white rappers that was like, "I'm white, but I enjoy rapping a lot." And I was always the second guy. I didn't talk like that, but like I never really like for like a year or something, I probably dressed in a certain way that was like identity crisis, nothing like that. But if you're gonna like, take some sort of cultural aspect like music from another culture, you can't fake an accent too to go with it. Like, you imagine Wyclef Jean did like a track and he's like, "I'm an Eskimo," or something. It would be horrible. Like, we would all
in
be
Russian.
Like,
dude, they're not doing accents. They think they talk like this. They think they talk like this. Island boys. Listen.
They're full
gazing. I'm like, pool, I'm staying.
I think he said, "I'm full gazing, and the pool I'm staying." He's like, that's what he's right in this pool I'm staying.
I thought he said I'm Stan.
No,
I thought he.
Do you guys?
I thought he said fugazi and there's a poo stain in my pants.
No, didn't say any of that stuff. Have another drink of your homemade apple cider, fella.
You know what?
You know what he's really saying? Love me, daddy.
You know what I would, if somebody somehow made this happen, where there was like a pay-per-view where you put them in like a field and then set wild dogs and chase them, I'd pay $100 for that.
Put some raw beef in their pants.
Yeah. Raw beef in their pants, hot dogs even, just to save yourself a little bit of money, and have them run around a fenced area and just videotape it and just go like $50 Saturday night. That's my night right there.
Yeah, that would be entertaining. It was like Hunger Games for like guys who think that they're a different race.
Hunger Games gives the indication that there might be a chance they survive.
That's true.
I want a pack of dogs in there.
But is there not, like, in my mind, because I think this all the time, there are several moments in my life where I thought I was big shit. Several moments in my life where I'm like, yeah, I made it. I'm 17, and I've got periods in my life where I'm like, I wish I could go back in time and literally kick the shit out of myself for being such a douchebag, for being such a poser, for being such a piece of shit, so completely out of touch with reality.
I never
That's
even
what
had
this
moments
is.
of that. I've always felt pretty comfortable in my own skin, and I always knew I was a fucking idiot. Like, honestly, I think that's something that happened to me at an early age. I had a sense of how people looked at me when I was in a room, and I was like, oh, okay, they think I'm an idiot too. And that is you need a good dose of that, right? It doesn't mean that you have to stop being yourself, but you have to be able to read a room. These fucking idiots, they don't. And now with their notoriety, because they won't think that their success with this viral success that they're having, they won't think that this is something that people are laughing at. They'll think it's because they're talented. And it's going to make these two unbearable.
I love it, though. I don't know why I love it so much. Like, I've put this thing out 5 times in the last 24 hours. This morning, I'm like, hey, good morning from the fucking Island Boys, everybody. Good morning from the Island Boys. They're here for you this morning.
I got a real down topic on.
Turn that shit off. You know whose fault it probably is?
It's making James mad.
Do you remember drum and bass and that genre
Down
and the
on
drum
the
and
topic
bass
on-
MCs?
I'm an island boy, put my vest on, like a wagwan man, try to make it to the top.
Sorry, go ahead. Drum and bass, yes.
Drum and bass, like it's a genre of electronic music or whatever, but they had drum and bass MCs, and it was just like, drum and bass beats, and then people, what I thought it should have been with people rhyming, but instead it was like white kids from the suburbs of Brampton being like, and then they get off camera and they're like, hey, Stan, are you coming to the birthday party on Sunday? Like, it's completely a depart. Like, they are fake. You're right. They're posers. And I also, can we blame The Weeknd for bringing fucked up hair sticks like into style?
Yeah,
that's brutal. I don't know. That's fucking brutal.
Christy O'Hare, who we had on the show last week, she asked if there were candlesticks wrapped in their heads.
Those are crowns. Those are crowns.
Let's light them with a blowtorch.
Oh, like they got 8 million views, and James is 100% right. Those guys are blowing themselves up right now. They're like, we good, bro. We good. We fucking hot.
And
then someone will fucking take him into a studio, right?
Eat the living shit out of him.
No, they're going to take him into a studio and make a record.
That's right.
They're going to sign him.
Like that Baby Jesus kid. Remember that guy from last, 2 years ago? Little Baby Jesus or something. And it was like this little white kid who looked like every kid that got beat up in grade 2. And he's just rhyming gangster shit. And it was like made fun of, but he made a bunch of money.
Does this kind of stuff piss you off, James, because you've been rapping and rhyming for like 30 years?
And you're really good.
It would have bothered me like 20 years ago or something, but honestly, like I've never felt more free doing music as a hobby where I know I'm just doing it for myself and my friends and I'm not trying to make it at all, and then the music is better still, and I don't care. I know what the internet is now. People like
it's a good
that
place to be.
Oh boy, yeah, good.
You know what? The funny thing too is you look at people that get viral success, right? If you look deep in their eyes, like William Hung, like look into that man's eyes. He knew that he was a joke. Look deep into these fucking tools' eyes. Mm-hmm. They don't have any clue.
Dude, it means so much to these guys, too. Like, some guy tweeted me the other day, because I can't remember what it was. Like, fuck, it all runs together as far as I'm concerned. He tweets me, it's like, you don't even have 100 likes on that tweet. And I'm like, I don't think you fucking know that, A, I don't care, and B, that's not how this works, you fucking moron. But it is like the way society's changed. And you talked to Rain Maida about it a couple months ago on the podcast. He's like, all people are doing now is doing what those fucking idiots are doing, and then someone's coming along going, we can make money off the Lonely Island Boys or the fucking Island Boys fucking, and they're like, this is total cultural misappropriation, which is great. They can't fucking rap. They're both idiots. One guy's got rotten teeth. Let's do it, because they're being made fun of, and the rest of the world somehow gets fucking angry at it. I celebrate it. I love it. Like, I can't stop singing, I'm an island boy. I'm an island boy. Walking around, I was playing it for my kids. I sent it to my son who makes music. I'm like, check these guys out. And he's like, Dad, these guys are going to be fucking millionaires for being morons in a pool. I'm like, totally. I love it. I love that we live in this world. While the rest of you guys get angry, I think it's the best.
See, this is like the musical version of that fart tape for that woman made of farting for 365 days or whatever. That's like the musical version of that. You know?
Yeah, it is. What'd you say?
I feel much more comfortable in my anger than in your acceptance of this.
I agree.
I can't do anything about it. 8 million views, man. It's incredible. And then our buddy from Offload Delay, Hopper, he's like 8 million views. I was excited to get my 4th subscriber on YouTube. Yeah, there you go. Switching gears. Have you guys heard about the Evander Kane suspension? It came down from the NHL today. Evander Kane gets suspended for 21 games. This is the memo. If you're joining us on YouTube, you can see it, or Twitch. If you can't, that's fine too. But I'll just read it. Sharks Kane suspended for 21 games. Memo from the NHL says National Hockey League announced today San Jose Sharks forward Evander Kane has been suspended for 21 regular season games without pay for an established violation and lack of compliance with the NHL and NHLPA COVID-19 protocol under the terms of the collective bargaining agreement. The forfeited pay goes to the Players Emergency Assistance Fund. Like that's not going to the bunch of casinos that he owes money to, but whatever. Kane will not be eligible to play prior to San Jose's game November 30th. That is a 21-game suspension. The National Hockey League also announces concurrent investigation into allegations of domestic abuse made by Kane's wife, Dina, could not be substantiated. There will be no further comment. So when we talk about flouting the COVID rules in the NHLPA and for the NHL, this is what he did. He legitimately, and I am not making this up, Evander Kane legitimately made a fake vaccine certificate and forged it and then handed it in to the San Jose Sharks organization as if they wouldn't check.
And that was the speculation on the front end of this story breaking last week, right?
There it is. That's actually pretty good.
Look at that.
He even did it in his own handwriting.
But I think, Dean, if I'm not mistaken, and somebody might be able to fill in the details here on this story, but was there not did he not get caught with a fake vaccination before the team?
At a Vegas casino.
Yeah. So the casino.
Isn't this the investigation concluding of that situation?
No. This was a twofold announcement, and that I don't know, Locke, and we'll go to Ryan in a second, but just to clear it up, this was a twofold announcement by the NHL saying, because about a month ago, they're like, we can't find any proof that he bet on games, so that's over. Because you remember that? Like, Evander Kane was like, his wife set out, layered all their fucking dirty laundry. He's betting on his own games. NHL was like, fuck, did he piss her off? Yeah. Anyway, they did the investigation and they're like, nah, he's clean. We can't find anything. We hope he gets help. We're going to help him with that. And then literally a month later, not even 2 days later, there's an allegation that he was beating the shit out of her as well. So they investigated that and they coupled this announcement. It's like, I've never in my life seen anybody
they want to sweep him under the rug, right?
Get investigated, get suspended, do more dumb shit, and not be accountable for fucking any of it. And this one is the funniest one to me. What's that?
But haven't you read his apologies?
I have. It's bullshit.
They should put all those up. It's clearly written by somebody else. Like, I mean,
it's 100% bullshit. Let me just get it for you. But it was clearly written by someone else. It basically goes on to talk about how he's sorry. He's undergoing counseling so he could be a better teammate to play the game he loves. Is that not how you would describe it?
Well, it's the same statement every time, and he's had to release like 4 of them in the last couple of years, right?
And they're all the same, yeah.
So him not being held accountable, doesn't that speak to what you, Lachlan, and I think Dean were talking about before, which is that he walks, he's got Arrested Development, he doesn't behave, but isn't he being enabled by the organization or the league who's not holding him accountable until now?
No, it's not the league's responsibility to help him with his gambling problem. It's the person who's got the gambling problem to approach the league and do what Carey Price did when he said, I got some stuff going on here. I got to figure out to get into the players assistance program.
Let's say, just so we can pull it down to our level, let's say you're employed by the Dean Blundell podcast, James, and you have a serious mushroom problem. Is it Dean's fault?
Yeah, of course.
Do you understand what I'm saying? I get what you're saying, and if
I promise I won't do mushrooms anymore.
If they keep letting him back into to play, maybe there is a sense of enablement there. But I honestly think that this league can't even keep up with how dumb he is. Yeah. Like it just seems to be one thing. One thing leads into the next thing.
He's out of control.
Dean brought up the fact that they're dealing with 2 situations here in one announcement. Yeah. We've suspended him for 21 days because
3 actually.
A month after another announcement. What do you mean 3? You're talking about
you got the domestic assault charge. You've got the COVID vaccination fraud, and you've got the betting on the games. So that's 3 things.
This announcement is 2 specific.
They put the domestic abuse blurb at the end, saying they couldn't substantiate it because they buried it essentially in the announcement about the COVID.
That's forgery, exactly what
they didn't want. They were too afraid of the optics and people and activists being like, you're enabling a wife beater. They didn't want that to happen. Yep. So
well, and now we're all focused on the fact it's pretty smart actually. The NHL, Bettman's no dummy. I mean, he does these.
He's an asshole, but he's no dummy.
Yeah,
and also they probably couldn't substantiate it, right? Where most other organizations would be like, he's suspended. Okay, you substantiated it? But believe all women, he's suspended, and then it's just like, oh, okay.
If you put her in the hospital or something like that, and there was some sort of proof that way, maybe they would have had something, but there obviously is no. Listen, the NHL. And again, I'm not a huge fan of Batman, but I honestly believe I need to believe this, that if they found some evidence that they could attach to the domestic abuse charges, I think they would have disciplined him for that as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, so there's two things. I think at this point that he's so much of a fucking headache and a distraction, not just for his team, but for the league, that I would love to get your thoughts. I don't think he plays again. I think this 21-game suspension is the start of him never playing in the NHL. Sharks don't want him back. That much I know. All of his teammates are like, get this fucking guy out of here. He's not a team guy. Because you know what it says when every one of your teammates shows up to camp with a legitimate vaccine certificate and he shows up with a fucking fake one and goes, I'm vaccinated.
Honestly, Dean, and that's
it
funny.
says
That's
I don't
really
give a
funny.
fuck about anybody else on this team. Sorry, Locke.
But can we just separate one thing here?
Yeah.
Like, let's separate the politics behind the vaccine. Okay. This guy's an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, he is a complete moron because he could have shown up and went, I don't believe in the vaccine. And I'm going to play. Right. Okay. He could have done that. Instead, he tried to weasel his way out with a fake document.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like, that to me makes it 10 times worse. And it isn't about whether or not the vaccine works or doesn't, or politics or religion exemptions, or it doesn't make any difference to me. The fact that he tried to fake that just means he's a raging piece of shit. Yeah. And I wouldn't want him on my team. I wouldn't want him in my building if I worked, even if he was across down the hall. I wouldn't want him in my organization. And I think most people are going to feel that way about this guy moving forward. And I agree with you. There's no fucking way this guy ever laces on a pair of skates.
How long does he have left in his contract?
Like 6 years.
No, like 2 or 3 years.
He got an 8-year
contract, by the way, that he's already spent. Like he is underwater to the tune of $50 million.
Yeah.
And I think the contract was like 47 or 42 or something like that. Like, he's $8 million in the hole, and he's still got 2 years left to get paid on his original contract. That's how much of a fucking degenerate this guy is.
That just
and I think a lot of people would say, you know what? I know, but I think a lot of people will be like, he needs some help. He doesn't have the tools to manage life and all that stuff. I mean, fuck, that's clear now, right? Like, it's completely clear. But back to the team stuff, to what Lachlan said, you can't. Erik Karlsson's not going to skate on a fucking line with that guy. Doug Wilson isn't going to say, come on back in. Everybody else got vaccinated. You tried to get on the slide. And you know what it does? It goes further for me to explain what this guy's all about. He is all about shortcuts and not doing the hard stuff, which is amazing when you consider how much work it would take to get into the NHL, to stay in the NHL, to produce at that level. Like, he clearly keeps himself in shape. He's so externally motivated, he can't fucking come around to the idea that, oh, I got to put the work in and do what everybody else does, right? So it's shortcut after shortcut after shortcut. And because he's got this fucking sense of entitlement, because he came into the league at 18 and he's made, tens of millions of dollars, and he's had this lifestyle, he doesn't think he is subjective to the same things every other human being in this world is subjected to, which is the laws of fucking nature. That you got to pay if you do something right. There's a tax that comes with everything. He's been trying to avoid the tax that comes with everything his whole fucking life. That's what this is. And it goes back to serious people, unserious people. He can't fucking put the toys away. So he is what he is. The best part of this is that I think we found his burner account too. So yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I think we found his burner account. Get a load of these tweets. Oh, by the way, this is another really good meme that someone put up.
Wow.
But these are his tweets. So Elliot Friedman, Frege, great guy. He announces his suspension. 21 NHL announces 21-game suspension for Evander Kane violation of COVID protocols. Out of nowhere, some guy named Proposition Joe points out that Austin Matthews harassed a black female veteran and gets nothing. Kane gets a made-up suspension simply because he's black. I'm shaking. And then he tags the Hockey Diversity Alliance, which was that alliance that was set up on behalf of black players in the NHL last year, if you remember that correctly. And then he tags himself, and he says, I'm shaking. Then he puts out another tweet that attacks to the Hockey News. Dylan Larkin from the Red Wings got a 1-game suspension for boarding someone from Tampa Bay last week. Should have been 15 to 20 games. I guarantee you Larkin doesn't do that to a Caucasian player.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, it gets better. And then another one, Friedge puts out another tweet. As the Sharks announced their opening night roster, the team says Evander Kane is considered a non-roster player pending completion of the NHL's investigation. Proposition Joe tweets, sad that black players continue to get discriminated against. Evander Kane is a class act. Not done there. The Athletic, the whoever this Proposition Joe person is, decided to tag on the back of the Athletic story about Kane's suspension with, quote, my black son saw this and says he doesn't want to play hockey anymore. Disgusting the league is targeting black players. So
Evander Kane, eh?
If that is, well, I have it on good authority, it may be. Yeah.
Well, maybe
Very
someone
good
that he's paying because the language and the syntax and the spelling was too good for it to be Evander Kane. Right?
Well, somebody's writing his apologies.
Yeah. Oh, it's dude.
I am telling you. He's probably paid like $7,000 a tweet because he's such a spendthrift, right? Like
that's a company doing that for him.
Honestly,
You're right.
Honestly, this is nothing to do with color. This is he's just an idiot, right?
He is an idiot.
You know, it's that doesn't even enter my mind. How long has the NHL been around for? And not one white player has ever body checked another white player? That's crazy.
It's not true.
I know.
Well, and there's lots of white players that have done like wildly stupid things. It's interesting to see this, the way they're handling this, though. And if you watch situations like this, and we don't have a lot to compare it to with respect to what the NHL does and how it handles stuff like this. But man, this is a league that does not like this shit. They are there's 700 players and they're locked down. They're tamped down.
Do you remember at the beginning? Do you remember in the beginning of the pandemic? They were the first ones to like pull the plug and say, fuck this, we're out. We're not messing around with COVID. And they've kept that stance all the way through, thankfully and smartly.
Like any bad press, man. They don't.
No, they don't.
They shut shit down right away. They're on top of it. So they must be just losing their mind over this dill hole.
Well, they just want it to go away, right? Like, and I'm not siding with the NHL because there's another story about Kevin Hayes, former NHLer who passed away from a fentanyl overdose last week. In the story that we put out, you go to deanblundell.com and you can check it out. He passed away. Jimmy Hayes, not Kevin. Sorry. Jimmy Hayes, his brother. Kevin still plays for the Philadelphia Flyers. He's a hell of a player. Lost his brother to a fentanyl overdose last week, a couple of weeks ago. The toxicology report came back, and they're like, yeah, it's a fentanyl overdose. He had cocaine in his system, so it is effective a drug overdose, right? And his dad, Jimmy's dad, was like, hey, listen, I knew he was struggling, but no one else in our family did. But what Jimmy was referring to when he talked to his dad, and this was his dad saying, is like, the NHL just basically handed out benzos, pills, all kinds of stuff to my son, and that stuff got him. And he didn't blame the NHL. He was like, it's part of the culture, so I get it. And Mr. Hayes Sr. is also a recovered addict as well. So, listen, I don't fucking think the NHL. I'm not looking at them and dealing with this Evander Kane thing, going, yeah, they're doing all the right things. I think they've done all the wrong things with this guy by allowing him to stay in the NHL and being the distraction that he has been. However, that race card that was played in those tweets, whether or not they're from Evander Kane's burner account, doesn't matter. That's what they're afraid of. Right? Like it is a very different exercise now than it would have been 5 years ago. And the NHL is not fucking blameless in any of this stuff, if you ask me.
Can I just say, if Mark Bergevin was the GM, he would have been gone already.
Yeah, that's true. You don't know that. Actually.
I think he's racist.
Bergevin like drafted a 17-year-old kid that got fucking busted for putting out like a fucking picture of a woman who he was having sex with. I mean, like, it's not that he's got a fucking any kind of
I haven't gotten over the PK trade. That's all.
I don't know. Was that racism?
I do. I think it was. Yeah, I do.
Really?
I think everything about PK when he was in Montreal was about racism, because I've seen like the same announcer watch PK celebrate a goal and him being like, and this is what they're worried about in the front office of the Canadians, this hot dogging. And then I saw another clip, same announcer, more of a celebration of a white player. And he's like, look at him go. And it's just like, I don't even think people realize when they're doing it. I think that like there's just when he was in Montreal, there just seemed to be a different standard by the way people talked about him. He could do the exact same thing as a white player, and he'd get shit on, and nothing would happen to the white player.
But that doesn't mean the organization was racist against him. It means, I mean, I don't know.
Well, I don't know why Bergevin would have traded.
I've never listened to RDS at all, or you know what I mean. Like I don't know enough about how they called the games, but PK loved Montreal, wasn't it? Didn't that like crush him? When
I think that's why he hasn't performed that well since then. Is because I think emotion. He's just a player that feeds off of emotion, and I think that he was in love with the city. Just gave $10 million to the hospital, and then what was it like? Not even a year later, gets traded.
Yeah,
and I just think that he's been brokenhearted since then. I know he shouldn't. He should suck it up. He makes millions, yada yada. I just think that like if you want to see PK Subban at 110%, he can only be wearing a Habs jersey. I don't know why I think that, but
then that's his problem. That's his problem. Someone's paying him a lot of money to be 100% fucking PK Subban. That's for sure.
Give me $10 million. I'll play for the Habs.
Black hockey player for the Montreal Canadiens loved playing in Montreal. You fucking hold on to that shit until he's 50.
Dude, Shea Weber took him to the fucking Stanley Cup playoffs last year. And all we've seen from PK Subban for the past 3-4 years is nothing. So well, who cares if he's heartbroken? It's not my fucking problem. He's got enough money to not be heartbroken or go pay someone to figure it out for him.
He's not.
That's how I feel about that. Can I just ask you guys? You're Rogan fans, right? You're a Rogan fan,
huge.
Locke. You're a Rogan fan, Lindley.
I've been slipping lately.
Slipping. That's all.
Jamesy, I'm a listener.
You're a Rogan listener. Like you guys consume his pod. I've never, ever, ever once listened to his podcast. So what I'm about to say and us talking about Joe Rogan, I'm going to approach it like that because all I see is out of context stuff. So you know how he did that video after he got COVID, celebrating all the weird shit that he did? Let me just play this video for you one time. Here you go, kid.
Tested, and turns out I got COVID. So we immediately threw the kitchen sink at it. All kinds of meds, monoclonal antibodies, ivermectin, Z-Pak, prednisone, everything.
So after that, he got dragged because everybody was like, dude ate horse paste. Guy ate fucking horse medicine. I can't believe he ate horse medicine. It was fucking unbelievable. So Rogan took from my understanding, from all the out of context I saw, Locke, you can help me with this. He took extreme exception to people dragging him and trolling him for eating horse paste. None of the other shit that he took that had nothing to do with him getting better if he indeed did have COVID.
Yeah, like Zithromax. Zithromax is used for like severe bacterial infections that COVID is not. Like you're taking Z-Pak. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Z-Pak is like prednisone is like a steroid for cancer patients. It's like fucking crazy. Yeah. So the only thing, and if I'm not mistaken, the only issue he's had, Locke, has been over people making fun of the fact he ate horse paste. Is that correct?
Well, specifically CNN, he threatened to sue them because they went on and said that he took a horse dewormer. Now, ivermectin is actually a horse dewormer, right? And if you go to a ranch store in Alberta, we called one and we asked if we could come buy some to test it out. The guy was so fucking annoyed. He was like, this is for animals. It's not for humans. I'm like, this isn't your first call from a human, is it? So he took exception to that and then said, maybe I should sue these dicks. And I think that was enough of a threat on his podcast, which has still, even though Spotify has really sort of slowed his roll, was enough of a threat that they stopped, but he will not let it go. Now, I think like he keeps bringing it up because I think he's embarrassed by it.
Oh yeah.
And I think there's an element of Joe where he just wants to be the dumb fighter that interviews people and has a podcast that people like. And his world has changed. He's not that guy anymore. He's a guy that millions of people have listened to, that continue to listen to. And now if he says something, if it's like, hey, I got a new phone, they might run and buy that phone. Hey, I'm taking this new supplement. They are going to run and buy it. Like, I mean, he has a lot of pull, and he still hasn't accepted the fact that what he said about ivermectin may actually be hurting the
Very
whole.
problematic.
It's very problematic, and
Yeah, but
he won't accept that.
He also played right into the meme, right? Like he shouldn't have said ivermectin. He should have said, I've been taking Stromectol and I've been taking Z-Paks and because Stromectol is the human medication that has ivermectin in it. So it's like, why would he play into the meme? Because the meme has actually bothered me too, because everyone is missing kind of the point.
Well, it's way more fun to make fun of him for eating horse paste than taking Stromectol.
Yeah, but it doesn't make, the jokes have to make sense for me to like, it doesn't make sense. If there was no such thing as an ivermectin human prescription, then it would make total sense because it is horse. That's all it's used for. But Stromectol is the actual brand name of the ivermectin.
Where the problem, James, isn't that that we've confused the two and there's two separate ones. It's that there is a large portion of the population that are dumb enough to go to the ranch store, James, and buy this fucking paste and put it on a cracker.
Because it's not being called Stromectol.
Well, and that's what James is saying. Yeah. I agree with what James is saying. Is that, and I actually wrote a post based on exactly what James just said, which was if he had just called it by its name, he wouldn't be having this problem. But he had Dr. Sanjay Gupta from CNN on his show the other day. I give Gupta full marks for being on it. He was a fucking superstar.
It was a really good pod.
But here's the clip that made me think that the only thing Joe Rogan cares about right now is trying to salvage his reputation, because this is like a fucking it's like it's embarrassing. It's an embarrassing tour. I call it the I never took horse pace tour. That's what this is. But I want you to watch this clip. It's great. Watch it.
Wormer's not a flattering thing. I get that.
It's a lie. It's a lie on a news network, and it's a lie that's a willing. That's a lie that they're conscious of. This is not a mistake.
Yeah.
They're unfavorably framing it as veterinary medicine.
Well, the FDA put this thing out. You saw that. Did you see that thing that the FDA put out?
What did the FDA put out?
It was a tweet, and it was snarky. I admit it. They said, "You are not a horse. You are not a cow. Stop taking this stuff," or something like that.
Why would you say that when you're talking about a drug that's been given out to billions and billions of people, a drug that was responsible for one of the inventors of it making the
Nobel Prize
in 2015?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, a drug that has been shown to stop viral replication in vitro. You know that, right? Why would they lie and say that's horse dewormer? I can afford people medicine, motherfucker. This is ridiculous. It's just a lie.
I don't think anyone is.
But don't you think that a lie like that is dangerous on a news network when you know that they know they're lying? You know that they know that I took medicine. Like, here it is. This is ivermectin.
You got
this
it with
right
you.
Here. Somebody gave it to me.
All right, hang on. The thing is, we're like going so fast. Like I feel like I'm missing.
Do you think that's a problem that your news network lies?
Well, I don't.
Dude,
I mean, what did they say?
They lied and said I was taking horse dewormer. First of all, it was prescribed to me by a doctor.
Yeah.
Along
they
with
shouldn't have said it was
bunch of other medications.
If you got a human pill, because there were people that were taking it, the veterinary medication, and you're not, obviously. You got it from a doctor, so that it shouldn't be called that. Ivermectin can be a very effective medication for parasitic disease, and as you say, it's probably, I think a 250 million people have taken it around the world.
More,
I get that.
Way more.
So
way more. Billions of people have taken it.
Can I just come back to the one I want to talk about? Two
No.
things on the ledger.
You have, before we get to that, does it bother you that the news network you work for out and out lied, just outright lied about me taking horse dewormer?
They shouldn't have said that.
Why did they do that?
I don't know.
You didn't ask? You didn't think that was you're the medical guy over there.
I didn't ask. I should have asked before coming on your podcast.
But they did it with such glee.
No,
yes,
Joe.
They did. I watched.
So first of all, that clip is edited for Joe's purposes. So the entire clip that you have to watch is on his show. Apparently, I don't know where you can get it. Doesn't matter. But what isn't said in there, which Sanjay Gupta, if you've listened to the interview, and I've listened to most of it, he absolutely diffused the entire situation. That's not what you don't see. He absolutely said, "Listen, dude, it's not. I don't believe you took horse paste, but it's not. It's a parasitic infection drug that you shouldn't have been taking. You fucking idiot." He didn't say you fucking idiot. But here's to James's point, and then Ryan will get to you. To James's point, I 100% agree. if he didn't take ivermectin and took stromectol or whatever it's called, then he should have said, I took stromectol, because then nobody would be making fun of him for taking something that A, wasn't approved, B, is not a therapeutic for COVID, and C, has nothing to do with a respiratory infection. That's what we make fun of him for. That and the 30 grand that he spent on the kitchen sink of meds that are ridiculous.
And the hypocrisy.
And the hypocrisy of it, because
of,
he won't
of him
put
willing to
a
take a drug
Bingo.
that is not even proven to fucking have any impact on COVID-19.
What did he say about antiviral and antiviral replication? I didn't understand what that meant.
Well, Sanji wanted to get into the minutia about why you would take ivermectin,
and he wouldn't let him.
And no, they did. They did.
No.
They
no,
did
he, well, not in that clip.
Not in that clip, but after that, he did.
Yeah, this is the viral clip. This is the viral clip that Joe pushed and promoted to make sure.
What did Rogan say when Gupta was like, "Why are you taking this shit?"
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
He skirted over it. He didn't, and even Sanji, even at the end of the interview, toward with 25-30 minutes left, said, "I want to clear something up. Why are you willing to take a drug that is not approved by even the company that makes it for COVID-19, and there's no tests to prove that it has any impact on COVID-19, but you're unwilling to take the vaccine?" And he skirted that question as well.
Really?
That's the hypocrisy.
You don't usually see
Rogan,
Rogan skirt question. You don't usually.
You know what?
That.
He does. And you know what? If you're watching him lately, James,
I haven't been since he moved to Spotify. I've been watching him 10%.
The thing that bothers me about him is he's losing a bit of his sense of humor, and I think there's pressure on him from Spotify right now, because I think the numbers are down significantly from where he was. I mean, he got paid $100 million to move everything over there, and not everybody followed him. I think things are a lot worse than they're letting on. So this might be also a ploy to get people talking about him as well, and he might be digging his feet in on this and not doing what he should be doing, which is letting this fucking thing go, because he knows now that this might drag some people back to him, right? It might be a marketing campaign of sorts, right? I think it's making him look worse.
No, what I was going to say is he, when he was talking to and he grabbed the box of pills, and Gupta said, "Oh, you have it there." And he says, "Yeah, someone gave it to me." He didn't say I was prescribed this by my doctor. He just said somebody gave this to me. And he didn't elaborate. He didn't show him what was in the box.
They clarified it in the interview, though, Ryan. And again, I'm not trying to defend him. They clarified it in the interview that was a joke thing. It actually had written on it horse dewormer, and it's actually a box of ivermectin for humans. So it was a joke box that he had, but it actually is the drug that he was prescribed. That was a buddy of his.
I've never been to the doctor, and when I came home and my wife says, "Oh, what did you get, honey?" And it's like, "Oh, I got clarithromycin for my sore tooth or something." I never came home and said, "I got dog parasite remover for my like." Why wouldn't you just, if what you took was the stromectol, why wouldn't you say I was on Z-Pak, I was on stromectol? Why would you say ivermectin? Why?
Because I mean, it's technically correct, because ivermectin is the ingredient in stromectol. I actually think that this is a problem that is widespread, and the media, who now fancies themselves as social engineers, I guess, or social conditioners, they ran with this horse medicine line joke. I'm sure it got audience numbers up a little bit and all that kind of stuff. And they didn't have to do that. They could have. We've been babied this whole pandemic with shit like this, and all they had to do from the very beginning is oh, by the way, everybody, stromectol, which is the human form of ivermectin, that medication that's often used on animals, but it doesn't have any impact on COVID, and that's what you bang away at every single day if you want to send a message that helps society at large. But instead they're like, "Hey, when we come back, why is Joe Rogan taking horse worm remover or whatever?" And it's just oh my God, it's they can't stop being snarky, and they can't stop trying to and shame and mock people. It's just stupid.
Not that I'm going to defend media, because you're right, there was an element of what you're talking about, and there is an element, and Rogan's not wrong. People enjoyed this.
Oh yeah,
people at CNN enjoyed it. People at different networks that were talking about him taking. I enjoyed it. I made fun of him for taking horse fucking paste on my show.
But why?
The problem is, James, people were doing it. That's the issue. And that's why Sanji is on that podcast. One, to go, listen, your message, the power you have over the American people is a lot stronger than you might think it is. It came up constantly, and Sanji kept trying to reposition the interview. He tried to kept trying to tentpole it back to, listen, I know you make fun of the fact that nobody should be listening to you for medical advice, but fucking people do, Joe. And people are going to ranch stores and buying the fucking apple-flavored ivermectin paste and eating it when they get COVID. That's the problem. And the problem I have with Joe and how he handled this, one, have some humility, which he has had in the past. He's not having it revolving around this issue. And two, realize the power that you have and the mistake that you made by saying that you took fucking ivermectin, because there were people dumb enough to fucking go to the ranch store and take it and poison themselves. Even in Alberta.
But that's what the media has been doing for like a year.
Yeah, but do you know why?
Exactly what
James,
you just said, Joe.
Yeah, but hang on. Do you guys know why? Do you know why that CNN used that horse paste dewormer stuff liberally? Do you know why they
is dead?
Yeah, sort of. But this is why. We live in a world where CNN wants you and me to go, I'm going to click that. I'm going to click that big time.
Yeah.
I'm going to click it.
We do.
So Joe Rogan, who's a famous anti-vaxxer, anti-science guy, alternative science guy, and he, by the way, he does the same. He did the same with that very fucking video. We sit and talk about whether or not these people are hypocrites. They're all hypocrites, right? Dude, I don't put stuff out on the net or on the web so that people don't look at it. Of course I made fun of him for taking horse paste. Of course I did, because that's what he said he did. And he opened the door. So I grabbed it. I grabbed my shit, put it all in my backpack, and I walked right through it, because he was the guy that opened up that avenue for everybody to make fun of him. And because he was embarrassed, right? Because his ego was hurt, he's now ruining his fucking brand over the whole fucking thing. He's ruining his brand. This alpha male dude. No, dude. Like it is going to fall apart sooner than you think for Joe Rogan.
You think so? You think it's
absolutely
the beginning of the end?
Absolutely, because you know what? He used to be in it, from what I understand, to do a good interview, to open up lines of communication, to have conversations about important. And from my understanding, he's a tremendous interviewer. But
he is.
Now this is about him. Now that his show isn't about what made it fucking popular. It's about trying to salvage a reputation that he can never control. That's what people don't understand in this business, is that you don't control your fucking reputation. And he's trying to do that. And so he's now destroying his brand. Sorry. Go ahead, Ryan.
No, he's mirroring like the right wing, the extreme right wing pundits now, where it's, I will not let go. I will not say I was wrong. I will not say I'm sorry, because that's what they love. They love, well, and you watch like that guy, that Jordan Klepper, when he interviews people and they know they're wrong, and watch their face like this, but they won't. So you're wrong? Well, no, like that's what he's doing. And I think it appeals to a certain audience out there. But I think at the end of the day, we're missing the point of, he was wrong. Everything he's talking about is still wrong, no matter what. If it was a fucking
conveniently
human pill,
that off of
or
that
if it
clip.
was if it was a horse pill, if it was a pig pill, if it was a sheep pill, it was wrong. Yeah. It was wrong what he took, and a doctor that gave it to him was wrong to give it to him, and he can't admit that.
That's
so now he's going to hold on.
That's totally true, and I don't want to belabor it, but Joe Rogan was wrong for not calling it Stromectol, because people do listen to him. And the entire mass media has been doing the same thing for a year. And so or however long it's been. So that's what I'm saying. I think the media's handling of this created more users of actual horse dewormer.
I think you're right.
You know what, James? You might be right. because people are
think
so
you're right.
fucking, well, you know what? Fuck CNN. I'm going to go to the ranch store
Yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah. Same reason why they
I'll
voted
show
for
them.
Trump.
I'll own the libs. I'll own the libs and put this on a Triscuit. You know, fuck.
That's
they're
my
so
move,
fucked.
by the way. The Triscuit, I want credit for that. If
Triscuit's-
Triscuit sales start
Triscuit is
going up,
hamster
I
food?
want a fucking kickback.
Fucking hamster food. You're gonna put it on hamster food?
Anyway, but yeah, conveniently 15, 20, 30 seconds after that clip, the ending of it, Sanji goes on to explain why ivermectin in the dose that, well, it probably took a little bit longer, so maybe that's why he didn't release the full length of the clip. It was already pretty fucking long in my opinion. But he does explain why. And James was bringing it up to there's a very technical reason why ivermectin, which is apparently for humans, is actually a very effective drug, and why some doctors thought it might work for COVID, but the dose you would need to take, and this is what Sanji was trying to explain, would be so massive that it would probably fucking kill anybody that took that level to actually have any impact on the virus. So that was another point that I think Sanji had a couple of things that he wanted to achieve by going on Joe Rogan's show. And unfortunately, fucking Joe still does 3-hour fucking podcasts. And he did a 3-hour podcast with Sanji. And I don't know if everybody gets to the end of those podcasts where there's a nice bow on it, right? And Joe actually seems way more reasonable in the conversation about the anti-vax stance that he's taken for himself at the end of this as well, which I think would benefit him for his brand, because I got a better sense of his stance on vaccines by listening to the whole fucking interview. And because I thought he was way more of an anti-vaxxer than he's claiming to on the interview, and at least at the end with Sanji.
What, did he come around at the end and go, yeah, maybe
he said, listen, I'm healthy. I don't want to take this. I don't think kids should take it because I don't think that that COVID is going to, I think it could.
And it's wrong though, dude. Yeah, but that's not coming around.
Wrong.
He's still wrong.
It's totally wrong. It's totally wrong.
Because they can give it to people that will die, right?
Who gives a fuck what you think?
His
you know,
stance, yeah. Ryan. But that's a lot of people think that way, and that's what the issue we're in right now is that as soon as I said that, your back got up right away, because he isn't thinking about anybody else. All he's thinking about is himself.
Right. Yeah.
We're actually taking the vaccine, even if we don't think we're going to die from COVID. We're taking it because we're trying to be a part of the solution, not part of the fucking problem.
And those people that think like that, or that don't think about spreading it, instead they just think, well, if I'm healthy, I'll be fine. They're like, that's a good case study, those people, of how if you want to convince them of something, you have to be more concerned about being effective than you are about being right. So you can't just be like, you're wrong, you fucking spread. You have to be, we have to change our tactics, our strategy. I've been saying this for months. I don't know what to do, but
no, you're right.
We're not
James.
doing whatever we're doing. We're not doing it.
You're right. And now we're just moving the hat over to Joe Rogan right now.
Yeah.
And
I just don't think he has an idea of how much responsibility actually lies on his shoulders when it comes to what he says. You can say, you know what he should say? If that's the way he thinks, this is your decision. This is your decision. You should make a decision. You should call your doctor. You should talk to somebody that's not a fucking podcaster that used to make people eat worms for money. Talk to somebody that knows what they're fucking talking about.
He says stuff like that, though, Ryan. But the problem is
he says it after he says the other stuff. In my understanding, like he'll say that, but then he says the other stuff. So it's not like and it's fucking amazing to me because I'm getting a bunch out of this. I'm not a Joe Rogan guy. I don't watch his show. His success has been incredible. Don't get me wrong, but this is what bothers me is that, as Ryan pointed out, he's still wrong. And the other thing is that he's hedging his bets in the community. So he's a pussy, right? He's saying, oh, I don't take it because I'm healthy. I don't think kids should take it either. And then he says, but go talk to the doctor. Go see. You can't fucking keep passing the buck all the time after you say something stupid because that's what you really believe. It's like when someone says, I don't mean to sound offensive, but you're a cunt. It's not.
No offense.
Yeah. No offense.
I've actually had somebody.
But your
say
mom's
that
a
to me
whore.
recently.
Your mom's a total slut. I hope your mom's not offended by me saying that, but she's a whore. So anyway, I'm just saying.
Don't get mad.
Yeah, it's the double negative. You can't offer fucking hope or be looked at like you're a fucking a vanguard of health or someone who holds up non-bias as really important or facts as really important, and therefore you cannot be taken seriously. And that gets to his motivation. In my mind, like, what's his motivation right now to continue to do this show? It is literally about salving his fucking reputation, salvaging his fucking earning potential. That's all I hear when I see clips like that. And if that's a 3-hour clip, that was a 1 or 3 hour show, 3.5. That was just over a minute long. And if that is what people and Joe Rogan fans are going like, yeah, Rogan, out of the 3.5 hours, he could only publish a minute. Suck on that today when you're like, yeah, Rogan's right on, man. Rogan's right on.
And if he was really Sweden about the whole thing, he wouldn't talk about it. He just wouldn't talk about it. Like that.
I like the Charles Barkley rule where I'm not a role model. Go fuck yourself. I used to like that. I don't like it that people in the public eye have to be responsible for dummies. I never really agreed with that. COVID changes everything for people. I think we've done a dozen things that we've never done before, and now I guess one of them is that Joe Rogan has to be responsible for what his fans do. I guess I don't know.
No, and you're right, but the problem I have is that he has never come on and admitted that was why people were pissed at him for saying I took ivermectin. He didn't come on and say, listen, I took a human form of ivermectin. If you're fucking stupid enough to go to a ranch store and take the ranch one, that's on you. You shouldn't be listening to me. No, he just got mad that people said he was taking horse paste.
Because he wasn't specific enough.
That's where I started to lose respect in this conversation about ivermectin and Joe Rogan. Was Joe Rogan got offended by the fact that they said he was taking horse paste instead of coming on and making fun of the fact that was a mix-up and that he should have taken some accountability for what he did, and he didn't. He never did. He just got pissed off.
And do you know where that comes from? I'll tell you where it comes from. Exactly, it comes from ego. And what is ego? Death. So, matter of time. It's a matter of time because intentionality is everything. It's the only thing you can control. His intention is to protect his reputation, not to do what made him successful in the first place. It's over.
We've watched this story, though. The reason why I think you might be wrong here is I don't think Rogan's a dumb guy. And I think if he can get past his own ego here and sort out whatever shit's going on behind the scenes that's causing him to make decisions like this, I think he'll be fine. Because we've watched this. This is a storybook ending. Like, this is a story we've watched many times. Howard Stern's done this.
He's doing a show with Dave Chappelle in about 3 weeks or a month, too.
Yeah. I don't.
Rogan is?
Yeah.
Rogan's doing a show with Chappelle?
Chappelle and him are quite
tight. They gave each other COVID. I think that was my understanding.
They did. They did because he was fucking partying with Chappelle that night
in Miami. But the Chappelle thing's interesting because we were talking about this earlier before we get on. Is the heat that he's taken from people over his trans comments? Yeah, it won't go away. And then this morning, which was fascinating to me, I wake up to this tweet from James, and it's about Margaret Atwood. She tweets, "Why can't we women say women anymore?" She's referring to the Star article that Rosie DiMano wrote about pronouns and trans groups, trans women stealing pronouns from women. From my understanding, James, and your tweet was interesting. You're like, Canada's most prolific writer happens to be a woman, is getting mobbed right now for being accurate. Trans women and women are equal but different. That isn't transphobia. It's factual. Now, let me just say before we get into this conversation, I don't care. I don't care about pronouns. If you want to be called something, I'll call you whatever you like. I don't have any skin
just polite
in this trans
I'd like to
argument.
Be called
pronouns are like 18th on my list of things to talk about for this, so we won't even get to it. Pronouns
refer to me as lick.
Yeah,
forward. That's my new pronoun.
Licklin cross. But what can you explain? Because not only is Margaret Atwood getting dragged, not only is Dave Chappelle getting dragged. I don't think that we need to venture into these areas. But I'm not Margaret Atwood, and I don't have the CV that she has, nor do I have the CV that Dave Chappelle has. But I have this thing in my head that says, Dean, there's a couple areas you don't want to go. One is in giving an opinion either way on something you're clearly never going to be or not. One of them is being black. So I reserve all my opinions on Black Lives Matter, not the
Don't play
organization,
the Island
but the
Boys
thing.
clip right now, please.
No, I'm not. Don't worry. And so
Now
I
he
don't
is.
think I should be allowed to have a say in a black person's experience. I think that's their experience, and we should be allies. Same thing with people in the LGBTQ community. I feel the exact same way about that. And so, as far as being an ally goes, that's it. James wants to talk about this on a weekly basis.
It's an important issue, and it actually has nothing. It's not really about pronouns. Okay, that's like this little ancillary small issue or whatever.
Right.
But women, and I think this is what Margaret Atwood would be talking about if she was being interviewed about this subject, is that women are being put in danger in spaces that are reserved for women. And we're talking about things like rape crisis centers. We're talking about things like women's prisons and things like that, because male-bodied trans women are utilizing these spaces, and sometimes cisgendered men pretend to be trans women, and violence occurs. But
what does cis mean? I'm sorry.
It just means that
means that
your junk
Cis.
matches your gender.
Basically. Cisgender,
Oh,
cis. Not cis, it's
okay.
cis.
I never knew what that meant, and every time it comes up, I'm always like, am I going to look really dumb for asking?
Tumor.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's one issue, is that spaces are being made a little bit unsafe. The second issue is that clearly trans women and women are not the same things. Clearly, from a chromosomal level, from a genetic level, from a biological level, from an aesthetics level, like they are not the same thing. They're equal, but they are clearly different. And the insistence that trans women have of being just we're just typical run-of-the-mill everyday women, when they're not, is the root of every problem that comes out of this, because we now are changing the definition of what a woman is because activists have demanded it, and without showing the work. I used to not show the work for long division when I was in grade 4. My teacher would be like, show the work. We have decided that that trans women and women are the same, that some women have penises and things like that. It's just not so. It's just that biological men sometimes believe that they are women, and that's a totally legit thing for them to believe in, but they are not women. They are trans women, and they're equal but different.
The long division analogy.
Yeah. Show your work.
Show the work. How do you show me that they're women? What do you mean? They can't prove it.
Here's my
How
question.
real is all this, though? I mean,
that's my question.
I have a question too.
My question is this: and I go back to my original statement. Why does anybody who isn't involved in the community give two fucks?
Because we have daughters.
Why do you care? Yeah, you have daughters, but what are they like? What is your daughter going to get out of you taking a stance in whether or not a trans woman decides that she's a real woman or like a half a woman or whatever it is that they decide? Because that's them, not us. Doesn't set a precedent for us. We got to manage our own families. And if that happens in my family, if my son walked down the stairs and goes, Dad, I'm going from this to I want to be named Stephanie and we're going dress shopping, I'd be like, let's fucking hop to it then if that's how you're comfortable. I could care less. I watched a special the other day on
shoes.
Yeah, I watched a special on 4 trans lives over 5 years. They followed kids, adults. It was fascinating to me. Some decided that they one kid was like 2, a little boy who wanted to be a woman, and when he got to the school age, he's like, I'm a dude. I'm just going to go to school as a dude, and absolutely identified as a dude. And I found that interesting, but I didn't pass judgment. Same thing with the people that went through with the full sex change. They were like so happy. It's how they wanted to live, never wanted to be anything else, felt that they were in the wrong body. I'm like, that's incredible. I can't, all these different examples are very different because they are different. It's not like there's one thing you can use to describe this entire group. And so individually, in my mind, when someone says, I want to be called this, I'm like, fucking hop to it. What do you want to be called? I'll call you whatever you like. Because that to me is a human thing, Lick. It's not like a fight that I think people who aren't trans have to have. That's how I feel about it.
But that's these examples that you used. They're like, they're produced and they're anecdotal and all that kind of stuff. And listen, if you want to be the opposite sex or whatever, you want to switch your gender, then go ahead, switch your gender. That's fine. But women are sort of being erased. Women in sports are going to feel this big time. Like we had the cyclist on, her name totally escapes me right now, before, talking about how trans women,
Allison Sador.
Right. Yeah. And how trans women in cycling are like beating women, or how trans women in weightlifting are getting Olympic spots when they're fat and they're male bodied most of their life. all of this stuff is like, it just impacts women. And it's funny how the one thing that got in there to impact women are people with penises. And that's what TERFs argue against. They're like, listen, we are women, and we want to be separate from trans women only because there is a Trojan horse element to all of this. And it's happened several times across Western nations where a guy will get convicted of rape or something like that, and then declare at his sentencing that he's a woman and get shipped to a woman's prison and then rape or assault women at that prison. It's happened. I could send you a bunch of links where this has happened.
Yeah, but
that is why it's an important issue. Things like that. Are you
going to place your entire premise on those very, very fractional examples?
That was my question.
What do you mean? What I'm saying is that the policies that are put in place that allow that to happen are a direct result of people thinking things like trans women and women are exactly the same.
And why are those policies important to you?
Listen, that's like saying, why is war in the Congo important?
You do get triggered by it, though, James. Like,
no, but I don't understand why wouldn't?
I think that's the question.
Women being raped be important to everyone?
I get it. I get that's awful, and I understand that side of it, right? And I guess sympathetic's probably not the right word for it. I think what Dean is trying to ask is, why does it? Because in my day, as much as I know that this is an issue, it doesn't impact my day. I mean, I don't. I'll read a story, Scarlett Johansson, and she turned down a role because people attacked her for possibly playing a trans person in a movie. But it doesn't. Like, I don't know anybody who's transitioned. It just doesn't impact my life. I guess
I do, and it's incredible. Like, I know a guy who's 70 years old, and then at the age of 65, he's like, I kind of live as a woman. And I'm like, that's incredible. We have Zoe on all the time on the podcast, and Zoe's
so I
trans.
guess I kind of know Zoe.
I was going to shoot myself in the head, or I was going to transition into a woman. Like, I get those empathetic situations, but I go back to the same thing. I'm reading all these things, but I'm like, why? It's like me weighing. It goes back to the same thing. Is that sometimes just doesn't matter. Your opinion isn't warranted. And that's how I feel about me. I'm not saying that about anybody else on this panel, but I'm at that point where I'm like, listen, do I want to add more fruit to my basket, which is already too fucking heavy to carry home?
And I think I think Chappelle is actually in his special was kind of saying, I want to get off this train.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I've been on this.
Blame him?
Yeah, like we need to get, and it's not just me, guys, it's you. You need to get off of this too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I totally understand where James is coming from. And he's right. There is valid examples out there, but all the like, we go from rape in a prison to somebody is going to win a bike race, and those arguments get moshed in together. So I think it takes away the validity of the danger aspect.
It's a multivariant argument. So there's the argument that that women are being put in unsafe
James
positions.
is attracted to these types
because I hate it when
societal conflicts.
And I'm not talking about anyone here. I hate it when society at large, or the media or corporations or whatever, are just like, is what they're saying true? Oh, we don't care. We just know that if we disagree with them, the optics are horrible.
Yeah, then we won't talk about it.
Then I'll call them menstruators instead of women.
That's the world we live in.
And that's
I think that's why we have these conversations. I think it's nice that we can actually talk about it.
Yeah. Well, we live in a world, James, where you can't have a conversation like this.
No,
there are just certain topics.
Anytime I want with anyone I want. You can't cancel.
No. Not you specifically in Killaloo. I'm talking about the world, the media world, and I live there. Like, I've watched people that I know in this business get fired over opinions about.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I get so frustrated about it.
One way or the other.
It feels cultish.
But here's the thing: is it like, do you expect anything else specifically from big media in this country? Like, do you expect anything else from Bell, who literally hijacked mental health?
Right. But why wouldn't I fight
for a promo? Oh, no, it's not the fight. I get it.
But why?
Or would you?
James?
Because I think
because it's
an injustice. I look at it. It lacks everything that I deem to be important. It lacks facts. It lacks logic. It lacks proof. I said something to the trans activist once. Morgane Ogre, her name is, from Vancouver, and I was like, okay, she was talking about like there's 68 genders or something. And I was like, it would be a great app.
There's 60.
If an app went off, if you got an alert every time a new gender was discovered, who discovered it, how they discovered it, where they discovered it. And she's like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, you're just saying there's 68 genders. I want evidence. Like, what are you talking about even? It's such a stupid topic. It's like astrology. I don't even know where to go with it because it's not rooted in facts. It's rooted in.
Is it a trend right now, though?
In activist lingo.
Is it something that will get sorted out over time, where we get a little bit more definition to it because it's so new that there's
maybe it takes voices like James to try and get us to that point. I think you're right, Locke. I think it's so new. And so, discombobulated
like with. If I said this on the CBC, I'd be never invited back. If I said this on any network, I'd never be invited.
Wouldn't have made it to air.
Right.
Did you listen to our podcast with Zoe last week? You weren't on it.
No, but I've been on with Zoe before and we got along fine.
Yeah, that was not the point I'm trying to make. I'm asking you specifically, did you listen to the Zoe podcast?
I listened to like 20 minutes of it or something like that.
Did you hear her?
I missed the Chappelle stuff.
Okay.
She talked about it.
She had a comment about you.
Okay.
I don't remember. What was it?
It's fine. I've been called worse, whatever it is. I don't even know what it is.
No, she wasn't disparaging.
It wasn't disparaging. She thinks your fascination with this is something to do with your struggle about your gender.
No,
that's what she said.
This issue is like no, I know. Well, she's wrong. This issue is like a prism. Okay, so here's trans activism, and it goes through the crystal, and out shoots free speech, which means compelled use of pronouns, right? So you have to say something. Before, free speech was like you can't say things that incite violence, and it's in our Constitution that you can't compel speech. And that's what this does. It puts women in danger. It like calls people who are well-meaning people misogynist and transphobic. It covers all. A guy in BC was put in prison for calling his biological daughter her instead of him. He was put in prison. He was put to jail.
But here's the thing: is like this is such a fucking major issue for so many people for two reasons. One is that it's like and this is I don't want this to sound it's probably going to sound bad. I don't really care. That these things are like people can't take their eyes off it. They rubberneck over issues like this, right? So now the media knows that, and so not only do they play that up, and not only do they take the overly liberal side in this conversation, but they actually use these poor people to tell everybody how collectively open they are to everybody's everything all the time.
Yes,
they have like, and I go back to Bell Let's Talk. They hijack.
Don't show the work.
I've listened to radio stations over the past couple of months that have do this, that put their own self-importance ahead of the actual subject, and they're like, we stand for this, and this, and we're broadcasting from the territory of the Ojibwe people, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me right now? There's people out there legitimately struggling, and you're using it to fucking improve your perception, and that's what everybody does. So we can never have a fucking real conversation about it because big media is absolutely perversely using these issues to be able to make themselves look like they give a fuck. And I can tell you this. They don't give two shits about you. They don't care. Like, Bell does not care about trans issues. They care about their fucking shareholders. Rogers doesn't care about trans issues or the LGBTQ movement. They care about looking like they do. That's the difference, right? And so these conversations never happen because they own all the media, and then, people get fired for having this conversation.
Put that in your fucking glass half full, Dean.
You're right about the rubber. You're right about the rubbernecking. That's absolutely correct, because what people are looking for is somebody that is having this conversation we're having right now to say the wrong fucking thing.
Right on.
And then they'll focus on that. It's like a vulture on that. And instead of hearing the entire conversation, they focus on that, and somebody gets canceled or
Bingo.
somebody, And
then they fire somebody publicly to be able to go, look so with it.
We
fired that asshole.
Yeah.
We're so with it. We got rid of that person for saying this thing that upset 4 people in Vancouver. That's what we're going to do. And they do it with everybody.
Well,
like, everybody's expendable.
all it's doing too is it's just creating a bigger divide in the world. I mean, if we can boil this down to even this is unfair to do this, but you can also boil this down to the separation between left and right, and this completely it stokes those fires, right?
Oh yeah. Which is why there's like
guy that's mad about it, the world that's too.
I hate those guys.
Yeah,
fucking hate them all. I fucking hate those guys. The people that take
wildly,
they'll see like
politically correct people.
They'll see James's tweet and go, and they won't go, let's talk to James about it. Let's see what Margaret Atwood was saying. Let's talk to Rosie DiMano. They don't talk to any of those people. Big media is taking this and they're going, oh, fuck, let's take this and sewer this person because I'll get 1,000 likes and I'll get 2,000 retweets and I'll get a whole bunch of comments and I'll look super fucking woke. So there we go. That I agree with when it comes to Jamesy and how he processes this whole thing.
Yeah.
But I'm still fascinated by how triggered you are and how not obsessed isn't the right word, but we've joked about this now for months about the Rawlings thing. This is something that you have been hyper focused on. And even Dean and I have talked about it like in like a phone call or two about your fascination with this. And
I don't think that is. I mean, I don't agree with the premise, right? Like, I'm not like triggered, like angry. I'm confused. I feel like I'm in a.
Oh, we lost him.
Oh,
someone unplugged the laptop.
Back. He's back. I feel like what?
I feel like I'm in a Black Mirror episode.
You're getting canceled.
I have no internet right now.
You know what? And here's the thing. I stay away from it because of the very reason that media entities don't allow people to speak to it, right? Is because they're like, don't talk about it just in case you say something that someone could take and fucking use against you. But James is saying, hey, listen, there's a problem here, and can we look at the problem? I get that part of it. My theory is that if there's no upside, I'm not talking about it. Well, yeah, like, because it matters to him. I get that part.
On numerous times, like today, he tweeted about it, right? Like, I would never, ever in a million years, and it's not even a lack of caring thing. I mean, I just wouldn't even think to do it, right? And again, I understand the hypocrisy of it. I understand both sides of the issue, but I would never take the time to send a tweet out about Margaret Atwood. Like,
I have something to play for you.
Goes balls deep.
I know, because he gets engaged by it. I like that.
You're playing those two tools, aren't you?
I'm a contrarian too.
Oh, he's back.
I'm a contrarian, and I don't like it when the media is doing the bidding of something that's not proved.
Well, then you hate every media outlet ever because that is all they do, dude. That is all they do.
Listen to my show in the mornings.
I've got a great example.
91.6.
That's wrong call letters.
Great example of this. Watch this. It's incredible.
Cause I'm an island boy, and I've been trying to make. Oh, I'm an island boy. I'm just island boy. I'm just island boy. I'ma get keep white going. You're gonna keep that gun. I'll be just staring at the sun. I'm just out fool gazing. I'm like.
That is so
shit. Sorry, I was in the islands. I felt like I was in the island. I grabbed a tree.
Baby.
I'm an island boy.
Boys, look at these guys. I think we
on the topic. We
got rid of.
I'm an island boy. I put my vest on. Yeah, like.
I don't care. There you go. Great show today.
700 times I've watched that today.
We dug deep today. We got into it. We got our feet wet.
Yeah, we did.
Good. Yeah,
we really did. Yeah. Oh, here he is. He's back.
He's
back. You couldn't handle it, eh? The Island Boys.
You know, I gotta tell you, this internet crashing is suspect. But
see, I told you.
Trans issues and white boys singing rap, and then it comes back for that shit. Oh, come on. Like.
Anyway, Lachlan Cross, 95.7 Cruise FM is where you can find him every single morning. He's the best morning radio host in the entire province of Alberta. Fucking great show. Go listen to it online if you get a chance.
Thank you, guys. You can listen to us. Don't listen to James. It's 95.7. 95.7 Cruise FM.
I stream that every morning. It's fantastic. It beats fucking radio and GTA. That's 100%. Hey, I had a question. Sorry, before you go. how is it that you get away with saying shit on the air, but here you don't hear jocks say the word shit
pussies
on the air?
Radio pussies is what
well, I'll tell you something that I shouldn't tell you. It's never an issue until somebody complains.
Okay. Then we'll stop talking about it.
Well, well, so what ends up happening is, plus the other, this is the other thing about working for a company that's not a big company. The other companies don't want me getting any credit for anything, and they don't want to bring any attention to me. So they're not going to. If I got a CBSC complaint about me swearing on the air, I would celebrate that, and I would
no shit.
Yeah, we would talk about it, and then people would, it would bring some attention that they don't want me getting. Right. So we kind of walk the line. We kind of walk the line. We dance up to it. Right. And then when you get the point,
you don't ever say anything like crude, like it's not crazy. It's not like
you rub it a bit.
What do you call it? It's not like it's not gratuitous. It's just like every once in a while you might just say shit, and it's like, fuck, you never hear guys here say anything close to it. They won't even say crap. Like
because they work
Toronto?
in a head office city. There's a very like in big media, specifically in radio. One of the hardest things to do is work in a head office city. So when you work in Toronto, I still literally, and I said this to my dad yesterday. I'm like, I cannot believe I lasted at the Edge for 15 years. That is fucking unbelievable.
You were in the building. You were in the fucking building.
Like I would go upstairs, and all the same guys that fired me are like, that was fucking great. Give you five and high fives, and books would come out. You'd have like
your fucking office.
John Hayes would come in. Yeah, pig vomit. He'd walk in. Stern's nemesis. He was my boss for a while, and he'd walk in and go, "I fucking love everything you're doing." And I'm like, "Okay, I just talked about my nuts for an hour, but sure, great." and because ratings were huge, right? And so what happens is, if someone complains, it hits the news, and then Lachlan's ratings go up. At one point, I think we had a 40 share, but we also had, I think, a world record for decisions that went against us with the CBSC and the CRTC. So
it's just listening.
Whatever.
It's the conversation, like the flow of conversation, listening to Locke and Grant and Jimmy, as opposed to listening to something here. It's so forced and so scripted here, but you hear them just chatting, and I find that appealing as a listener. And it's in short little bursts, good music and good conversation, rather than, oh, I better watch what I say. I better watch what I say.
Well, we're real.
It's great.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I have had moments, I'll be honest with you, Ryan, and I know Dean's done this too. And I've had moments where I've been worried about what is going to come out of my mouth. And as soon as you start, if that gets into your head, I've had shows where I've gotten in trouble, and then the next day you come in and you want to address it.
You're half the guy.
Yeah. And it chews away at you, man. Like those are rough shows. Like, Dean's brilliance, like over the years, was walking the line. Like, I'm walking up to a line right now that I know exists. Dean was like, well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to move the line over here and see what the fuckers say. Right? Like, that's what Dean did. I'm not doing that. Like, we don't live in times like that anymore. Dean was on the radio and breaking rules and moving that line for everybody else. And then he would go, hey, guys, I moved the line.
Come on. Come with me.
I just talked about retards on the air for 17 hours. We moved the line. Right. Like, so I'm not doing that. But I also, on the other hand, I try to have a real fucking show. And
it's fantastic. I love it. It's like listening to radio 20 years ago here.
When it was good.
When it was good.
Yeah.
It's like that's listening to your show out there. That form of conversation that you have there is like when radio was in its heyday here, and it's fantastic.
We got, and I've said this to Dean, and I know I don't think he believes me, but we're finding people like from all across the fucking country now listening to us, right?
It's awesome.
Yeah, we got people streaming us and texting us, and we're like, "Where are you from?" And they're like, I'm in Kitchener." I'm like, "Holy fuck! Why the fuck are you listening to me in Kitchener?"
Yeah, dude. Right? So, Brad, who lives in Kingston, he's like, "I'm officially a Cruise FM winner." He said he won a portable DVD player.
Dennis Sadness.
Yeah. He wanted the Dennis Sadness portable
Sadness DVD. Weekend. Yeah, he's in the draw.
That's fast coming to an end too. I heard so.
But you know what?
Well,
I'll tell you something. I don't talk about, and it's a calculated thing for me. I don't talk about radio very much or the state of radio very much. But you bring up a great point, Ryan, and I don't listen to the radio at all, right? Other than like a Blue Jays game, if I'm watching it at home and I'll drive to work and I'll listen to it on the fan where I used to work, which was jail, by the way, like mental jail, physical and mental fucking jail. But
good thing you don't talk about it though.
Sometimes I'll sit there,
chill, old Dean.
Yeah, jail. But I would sometimes I'll sit there if I'm like out in the morning and I got a couple things that I've got to do and I'll listen to the radio, and it has been so difficult. I'm almost embarrassed to have shared an industry with what I hear.
Really?
And dude. Oh, it's fucking pathetic. And it's not that, and I don't want to beat up on the people doing it. Like the announcers that are trying to deliver the information. I don't want
it's not their fault.
It is not their fault. These are people that are just trying to make their way. No, it's not. It's not.
They gotta own it. You gotta own your show.
You can't
take control of it.
You cannot do that in Toronto. You cannot.
You can't.
Have
I could.
No, you
Someone
couldn't.
hire me.
You'd get fired.
Do my show.
Let's go. Let's try it.
Give me a contract. I just need a couple years.
But that was a question, and I was talking to someone about this the other day. That's in radio. They're like, "Hey, do you want to maybe do some stuff for us?" And I'm like, I don't see a world where that works for me. And they're like,
I don't see you fitting back in here. Like, I don't see that. I think those clothes. I don't think those clothes fit anymore, Dean, to tell you the truth. Not with what you have now.
It's so fucking incredibly one-dimensional, number one. And number two, it's like, and the guy said some nice stuff to me. And I've had lots of great opportunities, but this guy said some nice stuff to me. And I was like, it's nice to hear, really appreciate it. And I think you're right. I think the city needs some honest behavior, people that take it seriously, want to leave the world a bit of a better place, and also want to have some fun and be able to speak common sense as people speak. But none of that happens anymore on the Radio Toronto because people are scared to death. They're scared of the people that are in the office upstairs. They're scared of the boss that's listening and the shareholders that's listening. And so they go into that job every single day fucking scared. I can hear it. I hear it on morning shows if I have the displeasure of having to listen to them. I hear like, coming up, we've got this. It's like this fucking fear. And you can hear the fear in this city. Yeah. You can absolutely fear. And it's amazing to me because fear is the only thing that fails every fucking time. If you're afraid, you won't try. If you don't try, you won't work. If you don't work, you're going to get fired. That's what this industry is, right? And because it's also a dead technology, they have it in the back of their head that the end is coming. I had a long conversation with a dude. They got pumped from Bell yesterday. He didn't get fired from Bell yesterday. He got fired in that purge, if you remember, where Bell took all that government COVID money to pay people and then took those people and just fucking fired them and kept the money. Remember that? That was the best move ever.
Well, and then they wrote dividend checks to their shareholders.
There you go.
Hashtag Let's Talk.
Yeah, that's where the money goes. And they did it like the day after Let's Talk, which is incredible to me.
Yeah.
But the industry itself, and again, you go back to the Joe Rogan conversation we have, it's all ego. It's all hubris. It's all like, the brand matters, we matter, investments matter, but the people doing the job don't. And so like 680 News here the other day, they just went like rebranded across the country. City News, that was a Rogers thing. So there are a ton of cuts coming to Rogers. There are a ton that have happened quietly. Bell just fired Rod Black the other day. Our friend Rod, 59 years old, Hallmark broadcaster, maybe one of Canada's best. Didn't even let him say goodbye. He's been a champ about that whole thing, though, so I'm not going to get into it because I'm friends with the guy, and it doesn't matter. What matters is the state of the union in radio, specifically in this city, is fear. And until a company decides we're going to empower the people to do a great job, as opposed to we're going to put a whole bunch of parameters around these people so they don't fuck up anything and a shareholder doesn't call us and tell us he didn't like what he heard or we're afraid of what might come out of that guy's mouth. I'm not talking about me. I'm done. Like if someone came out to me and said, you want to do radio? I'd say, sure, but you're going to have to do exactly how I tell you to do it. And it's going to have to be broadcast from me and I'll let you borrow it. Like that's
and they won't do that. So
no, the conversation. I think
Ryan,
they might.
I again, that's where I disagree with Dean on the state in the industry. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I hear what you're hearing too. And that fear is a great way of describing it. Like you hear this hesitation, and not right across the country. There are pockets of good radio, and it's happening in this city. I'm actually in Edmonton. There's a lot of really good radio here.
Excellent radio.
But I think we're going to get to a point where, you know how vinyl's cool again? I think we're going to get to a point where it's kind of cool to have live jocks on again, and it's going to be interesting to hear a radio station that has somebody that's coming off the back end of a song or every 2 songs 24 hours a day.
Disagree.
If somebody
Tesla, I read an article yesterday. Tesla said number 1 car maker in the world, by the way. So in that electric, I mean, fuck, I see the future. I see it.
They're not
They
going to
won't
put
put AM or FM. Radio. Yeah. They're like, and because Elon Musk is like, why? Why?
But I got people
There's no point.
screaming me in cars, right?
Yeah.
Like they don't need to get to Lachlan on an FM signal, right? So I hear what you're saying, Dean. And I think there are examples of like strong examples of the end is near in the radio industry. But I also think you're wrong when you think that there isn't a place for what you do either. Like I'm not going to make a prediction one way or the other, but as far as like a time frame, but I could see you going back.
Me too.
I could see you being thrown back on the radio.
Me too.
See, I sit in a really unique perspective in this panel that we are now.
Same.
I'm the only guy that wasn't on the radio or is currently on the radio. I'm a consumer. So in my market, same thing. We've got an AM station 900 CHML here, and they're a Bell company. They just did a major morning shift. It used to be an all news station in the morning, and then it went to like talk and then back to news format for the afternoon. They've gone to this weird laissez-faire kind of morning thing, very podcasty. It's like watching a fish on a dock dying. That's what the radio industry looks like from the outside now. It's like, what are you guys doing? Nobody wants to listen to people. Nobody wants to listen. I don't want to listen to a podcast about Shirley's Donuts on tomorrow morning. Like they were on yesterday talking about their business failing because of COVID on a morning chat coffee show with so-and-so on 900
exciting. Sounds so exciting.
It is. It's like watching a fish die and you feel bad for it. You're like, somebody kill it or put it back in the fucking water. And that's why I'm thankful. I'm thankful that I work during the day, and I'm thankful for having that. I can stream Locke's show and it sounds great and music's good.
Yeah. I listen in the morning too. I'm like, fucking
it's
flip
great.
Locke on. And I'm like, the boys.
By the way, the Dennis Sadness secret sound of the day, one of the signs that it's ending on Monday, I went, all right, call now. And one line went blinking.
It's your one guy. What's his name? Emmanuel.
And I'm like, there's only one person. I'm like, we sat there and waited to answer the phone for like 30 seconds. I'm like, there's only one person calling. And we were like cheering.
You couldn't even make the 956 joke. He couldn't even make the $956 joke.
Right to him. I'm like, Emmanuel, you're the only one wanting to play.
Yeah,
and he's still fucking lost.
Oh yeah, that's hilarious.
Sorry, I didn't mean to hijack the end there, Dean. I know you were trying to close up, but I just thought you brought up Locke and you retweeted that thing that I tweeted. Guy said, Toronto radio sucks donkey nuts now. So I thought I would clarify that tweet a bit.
Yeah, and I feel bad doing it. I feel bad doing it because I know that
there's
and
people that are in there.
I'm not a self-important person. I try really hard not to be self-important. I try not to make these conversations about me. And in fact, we don't have them. Like, when do we talk about radio? Very infrequently. And when we do, I'll give my opinion and I'll stand up for the people that are doing the work.
Talking outside of the podcast, we're usually just shitting on James too.
Yeah, traditionally. And now we got Ryan to dummy when we're on the phone. But
sorry.
Or Bonzi. We're shitting on Bonzi or James.
Yeah,
right?
We're talking about or we're talking about and Locke will call me and go, "What's it like being single?"
I am.
Tell me again about that.
Yeah.
I am fascinated by some of the lies you tell about your single life.
Oh no, they're all pretty good. I never lie. Never lie. I can't.
They're pretty fantastic.
I can't lie.
More stories than
they're
Walt
all
Disney.
true. Yeah, I'm embarrassed by some of them, but I'll tell them. But no, the someone said to me the other day, do you have a And it was the same conversation I had with this guy that was like, hey, do you want to get back into radio? And I'm like, not specifically. And he's like, you're that turned off by the industry. Hey, your experience was so bad. And it was so fucking demeaning. And I looked at him and I said to him, I was in a Zoom call. I had my head down and I looked up at him and I took my glasses off and I said, I got to tell you something. Because I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I fucking loved my life. I loved every part of that job. Yeah. I loved everything it gave me. I love the fact that I got fired when I did, how I got fired, the learning experience I've had because of it, what I've been able to accomplish outside of it for myself and not for somebody else. None of that would have been possible had that not happened to me. So, and I said to this person, I'm like, if that sounds like I'm angry, then man, I'm pissed. Like, and he's like, oh, I didn't really.
I don't hear anger from you.
No, I loved it. I loved it. I was like one of the luckiest people, and I say this all the time. I'm still one of the luckiest guys on the planet. I used to take mental pictures of my life every day going, this is incredible, right? This is incredible. Then I got in my own way. Then I did what Joe Rogan did, which I made it about me. I made it about my ego. I made it about, how much more money can I get? Because that was the currency of the realm. How much more vacation can I get? In one contract, I asked for a llama. They said they'd get it for me. Clearly, I don't have a llama, so they knew I was checking.
You.
I asked for like 12 months vacation one year. They're like, can we go like 2 months instead? I'm like, I'm just kidding. We'll see what. But they would like get, and I would never ask for money. They'd give you hundreds of thousands more every year, and you'd be like, this is fucking incredible. Like, and then you start believing it, right? Then you start believing that you're something that you're not. And when I watch Rogan, that's what I see. I see a guy that believes that he is something.
And that's exactly. As a fan of Rogan's, that's the frustrating thing, right? Like, yeah, that's right.
So that's
and
it.
We
for
can
us
get
today.
in our own way, though. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. You bring that up. Like, I mean, we all do it. I think there's a recovery, though. I think you can come out of the other end of it. And I see that. I view this and this version. You refer to it as version 2.0, Dean. I see this version. I don't see this version if you were still on the edge. If you had managed to stay there,
I'd be miserable. I'm the happiest I've ever been. I love my life. I was out for a walk this morning. I took a picture. I'm like, this is fucking incredible. None of that happens. Do I not go through the pain and the suffering of that time when I thought I was the victim of my own circumstances, right? Like that's how you have to look at life. The alternative is death. The alternative is, oh, fuck, look at me. I'm so dumb. And you know what? I'm not exempt. I thought I was. I thought I was exempt from having to do the work. I thought I was exempt from having to be a good person. I thought I was exempt. But it all kind of comes to a head at some point in your life where you're like, okay, I don't tell the truth. I'm hyper-focused on the wrong shit. My reputation is more important to me than accomplishing something. And that's when you know you're in trouble in this business. You know you're in trouble in the entertainment.
In a hot tub with weird hair singing a song.
Yeah.
About the island.
You think you're this guy.
One man trying to make it to the top. I'm an island boy. I've been trying to make it. I ain't seen it with a gang slang. You ain't just slang no kind.
Oh my God.
These guys are going to beat the shit out of themselves in like 10
And
years.
Saturday, wild dogs attack the Island Boys. $50 pay-per-view.
Lachlan Cross, 95.7 Cruise FM in Edmonton is where you can find him. Thanks, buddy. At Lachlan Cross on Twitter. Ryan Lindley from the Sheeple Shepherd podcast. It's an educational podcast. It's for people who are struggling to figure out what the fuck is going on. It's big brain stuff. And Ryan and his lovely wife, Ashley, are the hosts. Follow him on Twitter, at Ryan Lindley.
Hey, we're doing a live one this week.
Fuck off.
Our first one ever. We've never done live. We've never gone live. We're going to go on live Thursday night, I think. 8 o'clock on Thursday.
I'm excited for you.
Right,
yeah, it's going to be fun.
It's a little past my bedtime, but I'll find it and listen to it on the weekend.
Awesome.
All right, look for that. Ryan Lindley, Lock Across. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. We'll talk to you guys
Thanks for letting
soon.
me be a passenger today, boys.
Oh, dude.
Thanks,
no,
man.
you're way more than just a passenger. You're a host. Da-da-da. That's it for us. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for being part of the show. Thanks for watching and spending some time with us as well. Don't forget, you can find us wherever you get your iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, all that stuff. We really appreciate it if you could subscribe, leave a nice message. That'd be great. Combat all the assholes, because assholes love to be assholes. So if you could leave a nice one, it will balance out all the shitty. Well, there's not many shitty ones, to be honest. Or don't leave a nice one. I really don't care. Do whatever you want. It's your life. Thanks to our friends at Easy Auto Financial, easyautofinancial.ca. That's where you should get a car and your financing. They do everything for you. If you got bad credit, they don't care. They're incredible people who do an incredible job of getting you financing, and it doesn't cost you anything. No obligation. Go to easyautofinancial.ca for more information today. Ed's Fine Imports, edsfineimports.com. That's the website. He's got clothing for guys and little fellas too. And I don't mean midgets or little people. I mean like your son. Clothing for men and boys. That's how he goes by. And he's also got these unbelievable underwear. They're called Gitch, Gitch. Luxury branded underwear, boxer briefs, Canadian made by a Canadian guy. It's Ed's own brand, and they're unbelievable. I'm an underwear guy, like a skivvy dude. Got to have like 400 pairs of black underwear. They all got to be the same. Black for camouflage. Just saying. You never know when you trust the wrong fart, right? So call Ed. Go to edsfineimports.com. Order some underwear. He'll send them to you, and the fourth pair is free when you get 3. Promo code GETCH3 is your promo code for that as well. And hi to our friends over Domination, domination.com, dmntn.com. Stuff that we use to produce content. You can use it. Takes minutes instead of hours. 72 pieces in like 5 to 7 minutes from one file. So one show like this will give us 72 pieces of content, and it's free to try. For podcasters, gamers, producers of online content, this is perfect. dmntn.com. Try them today. And Blue Microphones, the deanblundell.com podcast network. Yeah, now 81 strong. Zen as fuck just joined the other day. Zen as fuck. Those guys are incredible. Offload Delay with Brad Hopper, First Responders podcast. You can find it at deanblundell.com. If you're a first responder, or if you just want to learn what the guys go through. But Blue Microphone sets us all up. We use the Blue 80X, and we also use these MoFi headphones, courtesy of Blue. And they're a Logitech group of companies, so they got a ton of cameras as well. But go to bluemic.com or at Blue Microphones on Twitter and check them out today. That's it for us. Have a great day, everybody. Sign up for a newsletter at deanblundell.com. That'd be nice, too. If you could do that, we'd appreciate it. Until then, see you soon. Bye.